Welcome to 30 Minutes with Workroom Tech. I'm Ceil Guglielmo, and along with Susan Woodcock, we'll be bringing you this workroom education podcast each month. We'll have links to Susan's blog posts, as well as accompanying videos to help you with your custom window treatment and soft furnishings education. 30 Minutes with Workroom Tech is sponsored by Workroom Tech, and you can learn all about their hands-on classes in Tryon, North Carolina by visiting workroomtech.com. Well, Happy New Year, Susan. How are you?
Ceil, Happy New Year. Don't ask that.
No.
How are you? Unless you want the honest answer. I've not been well. I've had cold, and it wasn't a great way to start the new year.
I feel you. I'm starting off with a sinus infection. So 2026 is not really my favorite year so far.
So how you doing is just a rhetorical question.
You're right. And we're not going to answer honestly today. It's nice to see you in any case. I like what we're talking about today because it's very appropriate for the beginning of the year. And lots of our listeners do some of these things at the beginning of the year. And I just think it's smart to go into some of the details.
Yeah, with our business, we pretty much closed down during Christmas. And the first month of January, we don't have classes here at Workroom Tech. So I'm still doing some sewing and things for my designers and stuff like that. But since we don't have classes, it's our time to do our maintenance on everything in the workroom so that we can hit the ground running and everything's working and we have all the parts we need. And it's a good time to do inventory.
Right.
So when I was thinking about what are we going to talk about for the podcast today, I was actually sitting at the sewing machine with the feed dogs off and played out with paintbrush in there, brushing away the fluff. And I thought, let's make this into a podcast. That way there's like a checklist that people can go down and me too. And now I look like it's a good idea to write a checklist so that we can look at these things. And I got together with Roger. He does all of our facility maintenance, and he had some ideas too. So that's what's on the workroom maintenance checklist for January, starting a new year.
And I think that even if people are a couple weeks into January when they start to listen to this podcast, there's never a bad time to do the things that are on this list.
Yeah. No. And you know what works for you. Some people, summer might be a better time. Just when you're a little quieter in the workroom and you can set aside time, or maybe, and there might be a recorder, like just go through these things, because if you keep up with maintenance, it doesn't take that long.
Yes.
It's the deferred maintenance that ends up taking more time.
We hate that deferred maintenance. So you were at your sewing machine when it occurred to you this would be good content for our podcast. What are the things you most recommend for at the sewing machine?
Oh, the first thing is just to get the lint out of all of those parts that get all the lint and fluff. And that's all around the bobbin case, the feed dogs, the base plate. And, the first thing is just take that base plate off, take the needle out. And I mean, obviously you're going to see, it looks like a rat's nest in there.
Even the cleanest among us are going to be surprised.
And I use little paint brushes to brush them out. Some people use compressed air or use their air compressor, canned compressed air, or just their air compressor to shoot the fluff out. But it gets all up my nose and in the air. And also you can accidentally just shoot more into the machine than you're out. Then you have to vacuum, and anyway, so I like to vacuum the parts there, and I have these mini vacuum attachments.
Me too. you recommended them and I bought them.
They're just, do a Google search for mini vacuum attachments, and they attach to a standard size vacuum cleaner. They just have little parts. They're like little Barbie vacuum parts, and they're so cute, and they fit up into the machine. And like using those, sometimes you need like a Q-tip, like dipped in a little machine oil, and you can kind of work in there. And What do
This
you buy there, Ceil? You're
this is a
showing me.
little brush, and I have to look at where I ordered them from. It's got a ball on the end with little pieces sticking out. It's either silicone or rubber.
Silicone. Yeah.
And I can put that down inside and twirl it, and it'll grab the dust and pull it out. So again, like you said, I'm not shooting it further in with the compressed air, but this will really pull a lot of dust and a lot of things you don't expect to find in your sewing machine.
I really like that because my brushes, the hairs on the brushes get so messed up. I mean, I just
Yeah,
buy cheap brushes because I'm gonna have
right.
to throw them away. But that one, it looks like you could wash it and like it would last a long time.
Yeah, I'll look on. I'm pretty sure I got this on Amazon. I think there were a couple. I'll look it up and I can
Yeah,
send you what it's called.
I'll
Yeah.
put that in the blog and with the other things we're talking about today. And then, so when you're taking all that stuff apart, you want to look at it. And if you're taking off the feed dogs, don't put back on bad feed dogs that are all nicked and broken and bent. Same for the base plate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one that gets the most abuse. That's the plate between the feed dogs and the feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to keep them extras.
I do too.
I have so many machines here and they're interchangeable on the straight stitch machines. And for the walking foot machines, I keep extras for that too. And they're so inexpensive. They're a couple bucks.
Yeah. It's one of those things, if you're placing an order, just get a couple extras because you don't want to be in the middle of a project and have like a needle break on it and cause a burr or a really deep nick that you can't get rid of that's now damaging fabric.
Yeah. And for the tension discs on the machine, you can take those completely off. And Sam Sloan, who sold us our machines, recommends that tension disc that's right on the front of your machine, unscrew it and take it apart. And when you take it apart, lay the pieces in the order that they go back on.
Very important.
I'm going to put a picture of that on the blog.
Okay.
Have them lined up in a little row like a train, and then they go back on in the same order. But you'd be really surprised at how much gunk is
Yeah.
in those tension devices, and that doesn't allow the tension to hold evenly, and that's no good either.
Yeah. And I mean, think about the thread goes through, you've got all the lint from linings and inner linings and the fabric itself. It's not a surprise. It's just not the first place I think of as needing to be cleaned.
Yeah, and it's not something you have to do all the time. And sometimes I just sort of pull them apart and go puff on them, blow on them, not puff on them. It sounds like I'm smoking the machine. No,
Right.
I blow on them, but that's probably not the best way to do it either. So yeah, so clean those, put those back on. Check your supply of needles as well. It's always good to have plenty on hand. Check your oil levels. And depending on your machine, you might have reservoirs that hold the oil. And then there's some spot oiling that you would do. Or you might have an oil pan under the machine, or some people call that an oil bath. So your machine's taking an oil bath. And that's the same thing. You'll still want to spot oil some of the moving parts.
Right.
Your sewing machine manual will have instructions for where to oil. And I keep those highlighted with a tab on the page.
Oh, good idea.
Straight to it and find the English version really quickly. And so I use that all the time.
Okay.
And check, and when you're getting machine oil, you can buy a gallon. I wouldn't buy a gallon unless you are starting a new machine that has the oil pan underneath and you need to fill up the pan. A gallon of machine oil will last you a long, long time. You want to use like the White Lily machine oil. And check your cords, make sure your electric cords aren't worn. Where you plug into the wall, is it loose? And your belts, if they need repair. I have a machine here right now. I need to check a belt. I think something's not not quite right when it's winding bobbins. So,
Yeah.
but it has a cover on it all. So I never bother to look at it, but
Right.
now's the time.
Yeah.
We're in maintenance mode. And also the knee lift and the pedal, they get loose and scoot around and move over time. And I know a lot of the knee lifts end up being in the wrong place.
Right.
Um, and they hurt your knee. And sometimes the pads on them need to be replaced as well.
Right. And because let's face it, a lot of us buy our machines used
Yeah.
and they don't, the machines themselves don't wear out, but the parts do. And it's interesting that you said that, Susan, because I did a video on how to add what's
Servo motor.
a
Didn't,
servo motor. Yes.
right, right.
I did a video on how to add a servo motor to your machine, and I need to adjust the pedal because it's way too sensitive. Like my foot gets within an inch of it and I am zooming away. And it's one of those things I don't think about it until I go to sit down to use it. And I go, oh shoot. It's one of those. I thought about this for 7 months. It took me 5 minutes, and I will learn absolutely nothing from this experience.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
a great video. That's
absolutely
so
have to test it.
helpful. Yeah, the servo motors, and that's another thing. If you're overhauling and doing some maintenance and you want to replace some machine motors with servo motors, absolutely highly recommend.
I do too. I had lived without them for a long time, and I did it on 2 of my machines, and I would never go back.
Yeah. And also wheels, or casters
Yeah.
on sewing machines. We don't have them on the machines, and I bought a new serger at CWC last year, and it has the casters on it, and I love that. And now on all my machines to have it. So yeah,
That's on Roger's list now, right?
he doesn't know it yet.
Yeah. So I do have one thing to add to the checklist for sewing machines, and I learned this in Ann Johnson's workroom skills class.
Mhm.
To vacuum the motors where the air pulls through.
Oh
It
yeah,
gets
yeah, yeah.
really dirty and disgusting.
Mhm.
I had taken the class a couple years ago in January, in fact, right around maybe around this time of the year, and it was perfect timing. I came home and did a whole bunch of things to my machines, but I went to vacuum the first one. And I was like, oh yeah, this needs to be a lot more done a lot more often than once a year or once every 10 years, which was probably more my case.
Trying to move the machines out from the wall, from the tables that you've built around them, to find, I mean, a lot of that stuff, like where the air intake on the motor, we
Yeah.
don't think about, they're now down behind next to a wall or something, and we're not going to crawl under there. And that's also a really good idea.
On my list.
Yeah. So that's sewing machines, same with blind hemmers, sergers, tackers, just general maintenance and looking for wear and replacing parts. And that's the wonderful thing about our industrial machines. They're workhorses. They do have parts that need to be replaced, and the parts are usually pretty inexpensive.
And usually fairly easy to replace yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always do stuff by myself.
Yeah.
It might take 10 days to figure it out. No.
But it will get done. I actually have a book to recommend, Susan. It's called How
Good.
to Repair and Maintain Sewing Machines. It is sold on Amazon and it's a paperback. It does have some home machines in it, but it has a lot of industrial machines on it. And I have bought more than one copy and given it away.
That's great. And we all have home machines too.
Yes, yes.
So, once in a while I drag that out, and it'd be nice to be able to work on that. So let's move on to the next one of the next most important things in our workrooms are scissors.
Mhm.
And there's not a lot to do with maintenance on scissors other than if they get nicks in them, stop using them. They're not going to get better. They're not going to heal themselves. They're only going to get worse. And the more you cut with scissors that have nicks in them, the more misaligned they'll get and the more work it's going to take to get them back. And for that reason, have extra pairs of scissors on hand. So if you don't have extra scissors, maybe that's your wake up call right now is I need to order a couple extra pair of scissors. Because things happen. We cut over pins, staples, sticky tapes, and all
Yeah.
that stuff. We have a sharpener here, which is fabulous, and I love it. Roger can keep our scissors nice and sharp. When I get a little stack of them, he'll get the scissor sharpener going. And there's a scissor lubricant that Wolf Industries recommends that they sell. And I forgot what it's made of, but it's not an oil.
Okay.
And you can put like a drop on the pivot point of your scissors.
Okay.
That's not going to hurt anything. And you also can clean the blades with it, sort of, wipe the blades down with that. If you get sticky tapes on your scissors, I try to keep certain scissors for cutting double-sided tapes and not the ones I use on fabric all the time. But even those have to be cleaned, even if they're designated scissors. And so I like to use Goo Gone.
Yeah, Goo Gone. Yes, I have some of that in my work.
And you also could use rubbing alcohol, something like that, and get those all cleaned up. Just be very careful because the blades are sharp, and I have cut myself trying to clean scissors by not paying attention.
I will say that having sharp scissors in the workroom is one of those things. If you pick up a pair of scissors that is not exceptionally sharp, they're harder to use. You can damage them further. And we were talking about this before we started to record. Wolf Industries will do sharpening at CWC most of the time. And when I was busier, I would like halfway through the year, I would send a couple scissors down and then bring the rest of them to CWC with me. So I always had, fairly freshly sharpened scissors, and it just makes such a difference. And I know there are a couple people who have local people who do sharpening, and they'll have them come to their workroom and have workroom friends come and get their scissors sharpened too. I don't trust my scissors to anybody but Wolf Industries. I mistakenly took mine to the local farmer's market one time. I took one pair, and I won't ever do that again. I'll just send them to Wolf. They get them back quickly.
It's not hard to learn how to sharpen scissors. Wolf has amazing customer support and videos to watch and brochures and literature and everything. I mean, they really have it going on. So if you're thinking about getting a scissor sharpener, I recommend that too. But if you just, have single person workroom, just sending them off and having them sharpen is awesome. And then there's also rotary cutters and electric cutters, and the same thing. You want to follow the manufacturer's manual about where to oil and when to oil and replace the blades. And we don't think about replacing those blades.
We don't.
The Chickadee I have actually has a little blade sharpener on it.
Okay.
Push in on the side. It's a little emery, a little stone.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's like it kind of sharpens it, but it's not like a new blade. Okay. It doesn't mean you have blades that never get replaced. It's just
right.
And then there's your irons.
Yeah.
The next one. And just for the handheld irons, like the Reliable Velocity iron.
You and I both love that iron.
Go ahead and flush out the water tank. And you might use distilled water. I don't. So I get sometimes it looks like a little bit of snowflakes in there sometimes. So I'll dump them out and then run fresh water in them and dump them out. And the sole plates get pretty icky.
Yeah.
Especially if you're using glues and like the iron-on stabilizer.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to always get caught on the edge of it and then end up with a sticky side on the iron side.
Yep.
So get those cleaned up, and I like to use the Easy Off iron cleaner.
Love that.
Not oven cleaner.
Iron cleaner.
Hot iron cleaner. And there's also Faultless is another brand.
Okay.
Hot iron cleaner. And it's a waxy paste that you put on the hot sole plate with the iron plugged in and on. And then you're going to iron. Well, you put it on a towel and you iron over that towel, and it's slippery and it works fantastic. But if you're doing it on your work table, make sure you put plenty of padding underneath of it or folded up paper bags, because it will seep through
Yes.
and get on your work table.
Yes.
So I love doing that, and I feel so happy when they're clean and they glide.
But again, it seems counterintuitive to everything we, unplug everything, turn it off. No, plug it in, turn it on, heat it up, and oh my gosh, it cleans it so well. And usually I'll notice, like, like you said, along the sides where I've
Yeah.
the stabilizer where I shouldn't have. And it just makes it glide across the fabric so much nicer.
Yeah. And don't do that underneath a smoke detector.
Oh, I have not done that, but
It will go off because
okay.
it gets this hot, smoky steam.
Yeah.
It's not smoke, it's not on fire, but it does make sort of a smoky like steam that's coming off.
Okay.
And it's, it's dirty.
Yeah.
And then you can also use a magic eraser sometimes. I'll use that on irons around the edges to get the on the boiler iron, you need to flush the tank.
Yeah.
Not doing that routinely. And that's just on our do fix iron, it's a drain on the bottom.
Yeah.
You undo into a bucket, and it's super easy to do.
Yeah.
And then you want to fill it with water before you use it again. Don't forget. If you have the Teflon shoe on your boiler iron, I think most people do, it has springs that bring it up over the end. That is where most of the dirt accumulates.
Yeah.
And I'll take a picture. I'll put a picture of mine because I haven't cleaned it yet. It's but that's where you get those dirty drips on your white linen that you weren't, planning for. So take that off, and I just clean it in the utility sink with like a little bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid and a brush.
Okay.
And then the iron itself, you could use the same iron cleaner that we talked about.
Okay.
Iron on and hot. And again, the magic eraser also works on that iron too. And then check your electric cords and make sure that the steam cords, make sure there's no cracks, no leaks, the joins, the little nuts and bolts and things that hold it all together are there.
Yeah.
Check your tracks and make sure your carabiners that are holding up the iron balancer are good, and make sure you have 2 of them. You should never have just one.
Right.
For safety reasons. And those things are so easy to replace.
Yeah. And again, not expensive.
No, not at all. Yeah.
But I also recommend that when you're checking all of those, that you dust the tracks if you have any.
Right.
Yeah. Because if you haven't in a while and you pull a little too hard and it yanks the tracks, and you get dust all over your fabric.
They don't look very big.
No, but they collect dust pretty well. We have our workrooms are dusty. There's lint from lining and inner lining and the fabrics. It's the nature of what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a mess.
Yeah. We produce beautiful work, but it's a mess creating it.
And then and with boiler irons, just like sewing machines, they're going to be needing maintenance, and they might have to be sent out for maintenance. So be prepared for that. It's not uncommon,
right?
Depending on how many hours you have your iron on, for 8 hours a day, it's 7 days a week. You gotta make sure that it stays in good working order. And there's some repairs that you can do yourself, but just check with your supplier on those things. And then the next one is air compressors and your staple guns. And I don't know if you know to drain your air compressor, to drain the water out of it. You'd be surprised, even with a little use, how much water gets accumulated in the air compressor.
I was glad we had this conversation, Susan, because I didn't realize there was a difference between where the water collects and letting the air out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why Roger's like, be sure that on this podcast that you say to open the petcock on the bottom of the tank to drain the water that has accumulated, not to drain the air that has been pressurized. You're not draining the air out, you're draining the water out.
Mhm.
And so, when you do that, if you have carpet or whatever, just put down something to catch the water.
Yeah.
It's not going to go gushing out like a
No, it's like drips
river.
of it. Yeah. Yeah.
But if you don't drain it, then your tank could rust over time, and
Yeah.
that's no good.
So there was a very deep conversation on a Reddit thread about when after you drain it, do you leave it open? Most people agreed you should drain it every time you use it, not just once in a while. But leaving it open, some people discussed it could let dust or insects in.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where they're using their compressors, but and also if it's left open, the valve rings could dry out. But then there
Right.
were other people who say no, they drain them and leave it open until the next time they use it. So I don't know the exact answer to that. I think if you occasionally leave it open, it's probably not a problem, but I think you probably shouldn't leave it open all the time because I was thinking more of the dried valve than
Yeah.
the insects because I
And
prefer.
that's another thing. Refer to your air compressor manual
Yeah.
because it will tell you.
Yeah.
It should tell you.
Yeah.
Um, and there's, we've had to replace parts on our air compressor. There's valves and um, connectors and, like the air hoses where the air hoses connect.
Yeah.
Those connections get cracked, worn because they're getting pulled against the
Yeah.
left and right and sideways and up and down. And
Yeah.
so those things get worn. And that's also another great thing to keep extras of in the workroom
Mhm.
because you don't want to be in the middle of a deadline and having to run to the hardware store to figure out what connectors you need.
And hope it fits your machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's also something good to have extras. And yeah, just follow your recommendations because all of them are different
Yeah.
and we can't give you answers for every
But your manufacturer can.
And the same for stapled guns. You just want to look for loose and damaged and worn parts. You might find something that's a little wiggly loose that you can just tighten up and prevent having to replace it,
Yeah.
having your staple gun out of commission. And things do get worn on the staple guns, and we buy replacement parts from Floyd Tools. And there's been things that we've had to replace. Make sure that your safety is operational. And I hear people going, but I took the safety off of mine. Well, don't let me hear you say that. You want to be
Definitely
safe?
don't let Roger hear you say that.
It's all about safety around here. Yeah, just general maintenance. And you do oil your staple guns, a little drop in the end.
Mhm.
And again, that's something based on how often you use it and your manufacturer's recommendation on that. Um, and make sure that you don't have any little broken pieces of staple and things like
Yeah.
that. Love our staple guns. We couldn't live without
Yes.
them.
I had to replace my compressor and I did buy one of the California compressors that you have at Workroom
Compressor.
Tech and I absolutely love it. It is much quieter
Oh my
than the other ones because I don't have a place where I can put it and keep it separate from my work area. It's right next to me while I'm using it. So
Yeah, the quiet compressors are just phenomenal.
yeah,
And when we bought those 8 years ago, there weren't that many on the market. And now lots of brands have
yeah,
quiet compressors. So I don't think anyone needs to worry about noisy compressors anymore.
yeah.
It's bad for your hearing. You shouldn't be working
Right.
next to something
And
that's.
they startle you when they go on.
And if you have a shop dog, poor shop dogs.
Oh, I know.
Suffer. And then there's general facility maintenance, right? So things like testing the batteries in your smoke detectors. If you don't have a schedule for that, let's start one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the first of the year. Maybe it's, summertime, whatever. Just let's make a schedule for checking things like batteries and the smoke detectors. Don't wait until they beep, beep, beep. You know,
Because it's always 4 o'clock in the morning.
can...
What do you do? It's never 4 in the afternoon.
And Roger takes a Sharpie marker and writes the date on the battery when he puts the battery in, and that way he has a good idea of, well, that was a bad battery. It's beeping, after 2 months or something.
Right.
Let's
That's
just
a good
replace
idea.
that because you never can remember how long it's been since you replaced it.
Especially if you have multiples.
Yes.
We do the ones in our house based on the time change, daylight savings time, and
Oh, yes, that's a great reminder.
but we had one beep at us the other day, and then we realized, wait, do we have carbon monoxide on every level? Do we just so we kind of like did an inventory of what our alarms were and made sure we had to go get a new combination smoke and carbon monoxide for the floor where our bedrooms are. And I have two detectors. I have one carbon monoxide and one smoke detector in the basement where my workroom is. But it never occurred to me to mark the batteries. That is really a good idea.
And if you have a workroom in your garage or in your basement, it's a great idea to have connected smoke detectors so
Yeah.
that, like, if your workroom's in the basement and your bedroom is on the third floor, you will not be hearing that smoke detector going off. And you're on the top floor. How are you going to get out? Right. So the bottom of your house is on fire.
Right.
So, yeah, might want to get a connected one for that. And yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about the bad things that could happen.
Yeah, I know.
But that's another thing with making sure that you maintain your irons, your cords, your electric cords, and
Yeah.
your rechargeables. If you're recharging batteries and you just leave your chargers plugged in all the time, for your cell phones, for your iPad, for your drills and everything now, vacuums, everything is like battery
Mhm.
operated. If you're just leaving those plugged in all the time, that is a huge risk for starting a fire.
Yes.
Think about that as well on our checklist for safety. And then update your fire extinguisher or get a fire extinguisher if
Get
you
one.
have
Yeah.
one. Have one in your kitchen, have one in your workroom.
Okay, so I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
You sent me the list of things we were going to talk about, and I was like, update the fire extinguisher. I'm like, I don't know if I've checked it recently. And I realized not too long ago, I didn't have one in my kitchen and my basement. So I ended up taking it out of the kitchen cabinet under my stove and putting it right at the top of the steps of the basement. So it would be easy to access from either. Well, that would be great if I'm not stuck downstairs. I still have to come up the stairs to get
Right,
one.
right, right.
Okay, I need a second fire extinguisher. But in inspecting it, I realized there was a cable tie through the handle and the ring that you have to pull so that it
Okay.
doesn't accidentally get set off when it's sold.
Yeah.
But if I had picked it up and needed to use it for a fire, I would have
Oh,
to cut the cable tie
right.
or tear it off. This was
Repeat.
not, yeah, this is the one that was not coming off easily. So
Right. Oh my gosh.
thanks to this, I cut the cable tie. It's still at the top of my basement steps, but I have added to my list the next time I'm in Home Depot or Lowe's or one of those stores to get a second fire extinguisher, and I will keep it downstairs so I don't have to run up the steps. It's not a lot of steps, but if there's a fire down there and I can get it out quickly, I don't want to have to run upstairs and then back down again. So,
And it's not a bad idea if you have employees, even a couple employees, and even if they're working out of your home, what is your, emergency plan, your exit route, right? What do you do if there's a fire, if the smoke detector goes off?
yeah.
And, list of emergency numbers, just in case.
Yeah.
It's all good practical advice, just like you do with your kids.
Yeah, and never a bad idea to have a plan. Like which window would I climb out of in my basement? I would climb out the one that's by my lining rack because I can climb up on top of that and climb out the window. So
Right. And so
yeah,
there's another safety issue there, right? If you're in a basement and you have windows as your escape route, are they covered up? Are there
yeah,
things in front of it? Is there, a file cabinet or something in front of it that you can't
yeah,
see the window? So um, be safe. Be safe out
yeah.
there, folks.
Yes.
And I think that's about it. The final thing I have on there, and I've repeated this over and over, is to check the electric cords, because I've had electric cords explode,
Mhm.
and it's not only scary, but a fire hazard. If I hadn't have been right there with it when it went pow,
Right, right.
would have been a lot worse. But you need to use the appropriate size electric cords. We are in a commercial building in a town, so we actually have a fire inspection. So the fire marshal came by here and did inspections. He had a really hard time with the do-fix iron. He wanted it on its own. Yeah, we had it on a dual plug so that the light came on when the iron was on,
Okay.
so that I would know if the light's on, the iron's on, right? And he really didn't want that on a dual plug. He wanted to have its own plug. So we did that to make him happy.
Okay.
But yeah, so you got to really be thoughtful and careful about those electric cords and chargers and things like that.
Susan, I think I mentioned this. My do fix iron is on its own electrical box, and the switch is at the top of my basement steps. For the longest time, I had a really hard time. When it's in the off position, the switch has a light in it.
Oh,
And
nice.
I kept thinking, if the switch is lit up, doesn't that mean the iron is on? And then we had to replace it because it went bad. And I was reading the box and it said, the light is on in the off position so you can find it in the dark.
All right.
And I was like, that's it. I mean, it's not dark. I'm in my kitchen and it's lit up, and I open my basement door and the switch is right there. But all I had to do was read that. And now I know lights on, irons off.
Right.
And I have no problem with it. And it's on those nights when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, oh no, did I turn the iron off? All I have to do is open the basement steps. And if that light is on, I did it. And if it isn't on, I quietly turn it off and never mention it to Bill.
We're so lucky now that we have all the technology to have cameras and things. We have cameras here at Workroom Tech that I can in the night I can go look at the cameras, and when all
Yes.
the lights are out, if something's on that has a light on it, like an iron or a machine or
Yeah.
something, I can see it.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I do know a workroom whose workroom is out of her home. She has everything set up on Amazon outlets. And so she can tell Alexa to
Oh
turn
yeah,
off, and she can tell Alexa to turn things on when she's on her way in,
that's
which is
nice.
really nice. But it is a nice feature to be able to just open your phone and make sure that everything's turned off. So you're right. The technology is there, whether it's because you have a camera looking at it or you are using Alexa plugs, then you at least can be absolutely certain that everything's turned off.
Yeah. And it was like we have in our basement at home, we have water detectors just in
Yeah.
case, we're on vacation, something floods and it's
Yep.
all coming in the basement. So we'll know.
Just best to know ahead of time
It
or
seems
as
like
soon
that
as
always
possible.
happens when you're on vacation. I don't
Yeah.
know why the house
Yes.
does that, but
Yes.
well, I think this is good, Ceil. This is a lot of work. Seems
Yeah.
like a lot of work. But and I hate cleaning. And so it's not something I want to do, but when it's done, I love the results.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. It's not my favorite thing to do, but my favorite thing is when it's finished.
Yes.
And again, knowing that everything around my machines is clean, and like sometimes the little containers that I have for tools, they just get so grubby because of all the lint. And again, it's just nice to start the year off fresh and have everything clean. And I have those containers near every machine to make sure. Do I have a pair of short scissors for snipping threads? Do I have a seam ripper at every machine? Like, now's the time to make sure that they're all there. They won't be 5 minutes after I start working because I move them from, but I could start out that way.
Yes, start out right on the right foot.
Yeah.
Well,
But
thanks. I hope you feel better.
thank you. I hope you feel better.
You know, I'm much better now. Boy, I didn't like starting the new year like that.
I'm with you. Well, thanks, Susan. I think this is a great checklist and I hope people will follow it. And I'd love to hear if people have any other ideas that they like to do in their workroom as they start the year.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Thanks, Susan.
Bye.
Susan and I hope that you've enjoyed hearing our adventures in cleaning our workrooms and that it inspires you to get your workroom cleaned up, especially the little details like your machines and things like that. There is a link to Susan's blog in the show notes, and she's going to have a checklist that you can download if you'd like, or you can go right to workroomtech.com, click on the blog option, and you'll find the podcast and the blog there. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day.